Beings are here with but little dust in their eyes. Pray, teach the Dhamma out of compassion for them.
Everyone just say sadhu. Very good, beautiful, beautiful. It's because if Brahman didn't make this statement to the Lord Buddha, we wouldn't have the Dhamma here today. So it's not like every Buddha that arises in the world will teach the Dhamma. As we know, Pacceka Buddha does not teach the Dhamma. It's not because he does not want to, it's just possibly he was not invited, and he's a solitude Buddha, and also considers that possibly feels it's too refined for humankind at this time and age, and so it does not teach. Or could be because of strong karma from the past that he does not teach the Dhamma, such as Devadatta, who was the Lord Buddha's enemy. The Lord Buddha did state that in the future he will be a Pacceka Buddha. As the earth was swallowing him up, he made a strong statement of vow that I take the Lord Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha forever as my refuge, because he knew the heavy karma that he was about to experience was going to be for a very long time in a deep hell. And I know these are strong words for a lot of non-Buddhists, but there are a lot of Sri Lankan people who have studied and know the Buddhist teachings very well and understand the implications of this. So some things I'll say may be difficult to understand, but that's deliberate, just to encourage you to maybe, like the Sri Lankans, they do a formal form of study, and that can be found online on internet, where you can do a structured form of study, so you have a good foundation of what actually the Lord Buddha taught, instead of just doing meditation and gaining states of peace, because that's not enough. And also Dharma talks are not enough. We have to have some form of curriculum and study, such as in Asia, Sri Lanka and Thailand. It's compulsory from young age. They should go to a kind of religious school and learn different aspects of the Dhamma. And this is a wonderful thing, and it's my wish that in the West we'll follow the same way. And now there's strong trend now of actually translating these famous religious study books that we ourselves, the monks, have to, by compulsory, have to do. I myself did it in the Thai language and did the test in Thai, and gained a lot of benefit, even though it was very difficult. And so, and this is utterly important, because my theme was, for the last few previous talks, is about the quality of understanding the unwholesome mind and the wholesome mind, and not going into any other aspect, because the Lord Buddha over and over again stated that this is something we should try to discern in our mind and understand what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, and be very honest about that, because sometimes we are keeping things that are unwholesome and we're not aware of it, and it's just because, like Luang Pu Cha said, that we since children have grown up with 3 close friends, and we haven't departed from them. And what are these 3 close friends? And they are greed, hatred and delusion. And we could say, oh, that's not true. And then already, if your mind's saying that, that's already opposing that. And that's showing your own arrogance and going towards hatred already. It just shows how quick it is in the mind, and so refined, how difficult it is to see. Or forms of jealousy, which I discussed in my last talk. This is the beginnings of hatred. And all these things which we think are harmless and not really normal, and everyone does it, so it's okay. It just shows because our society does have not any Buddhist education at all, has no foundation. And so our society sees Buddhism as a point of philosophy. And this is very sad. And so everyone's interested in peace. And yesterday I received a group of Sri Lankans and also Westerners after the lunch dana and had a long conversation with them. And through that, going through such discussions, Dhamma discussions, I could see quite clearly that people are starving for peace. That's what they yearn for most in their life, is having peace of mind. And this is so hard to attain, and we're so hungry for it. And so now throughout the world there are things called guided meditations throughout the week, and a lot of centres throughout the world are very popular. You can do it on the internet, you can sit with your iPhone in your couch and listen to a guided meditation. And there's just so much of it. And but it just shows how hungry we are for peace, and that we want someone to instruct us to go to the state of peace. This sounds absolutely ridiculous. It's actually within us, and this is what we have to do. We don't need someone to instruct us to attain peace. We have to study the Dhamma, and this will get us to understand peace. But of course, I'm not denying that guided meditation is wrong. I'm just saying that just to encourage people to actually be a little bit self-motivated, being a little bit proactive in actually developing peace in their life and seeing it as a powerful force to support themselves and to society. And so the previous talk was just saying how dreadful these quality states of jealousy, strong greed, and negativity, and I use some startling images to go with that. And now I want to talk about the aspect of how we can pull ourselves out of these unwholesome states of mind and go to states of wholesome qualities. And so the Lord Buddha gave us 3 areas to work with, which I've been talking about, and that's the level of the mind, level of the body through our actions. The level of mind, of course, is through our thoughts and ponderings and thinkings. And the level of our speech is through what we verbalise, what we say, and what we utter. And so, in the summary, there are 10 of these, and it's divided. Our speech has 4 aspects, our body has 3, and our mind has only 3 as well. And we think this is not many, this is only 10. But when we do contemplate these 10 kusala karmas, as Lord Buddha called them, 10 modes of generating powerful, wholesome karma, this gives us the opportunity to go into a state of developing deep peace and understanding of ourselves. And so I will start with mano karma, or mano dvara, the door that's entering into our mind. It's like when we have state of peace, when we are calm, then we can actually access our mind and see what it is thinking, and we can observe our opinions and ideas and the way our character and our behaviour, we can observe it. And this is, I remember when I first started Dhamma practice and the first time I witnessed my own anger, I was completely shocked. I couldn't believe it, felt incredibly upset that I actually was harbouring such feelings and not doing anything about it, and had no tools to rid myself of it, and felt very grief-stricken. As the Lord Buddha says, this is the quality of domanassa. And this quality is one of the qualities of the mind that is harbouring ill will, which will come to this state of sadness and remorse. And to the extent of that, we don't forgive other people, and we hold a grudge against a particular group of people, or even a hospital, like even knew a relative because was not properly looked after. So one of the relatives said, and they were the reason for his death. And we can see that I will never go to that hospital again, blaming a hospital. And this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. They're doing their best. They only have limited amount of facilities and skills. How can we blame others when they're truly are trying to do their best. And this is how it is when we have anger and we have a motivation for it, we hold this grudge. And so when we see these three qualities of Bayapada, which is lacking goodwill and harbouring ill will, and the quality of abhijama, which is the quality of covetousness. And I myself struggled this for a long time, this ancient English word, which a lot of us don't know what it means, and that is basically meaning being obsessed by other people's properties and what they have. And in a way, we're sort of generating quality of jealousy with that. And to the point where the Lord Buddha said this will block us even from developing even sati. We won't even be able to have a basis of mindfulness. So and this is why it's so important to understand what is right mindfulness and what is wrong mindfulness. And there's a lot of teachings of wrong mindfulness now because there's so much spread of mindfulness application training, but they're not actually looking deeply at some of the aspects of the very fundamental aspects of wholesome actions and unwholesome actions of mind. And this has to be addressed first before we can go into levels of going into meditation and so forth. Because these are the things that are preventing us from gaining the states of peace. So what is this quality of covetousness? And this quality of covetousness is we can look at in our childhood experience. So when we were children, I remember myself being an uncle, and this my brother had two beautiful children, now grown up, and looking after them. And they were about 2 years difference. The girl was the younger one, the boy was the older one. And they would be playing, and always, the girl would always copy the boy and be totally jealous, always trying to outdo him. And she could, many of the times. Very, very competitive they were. And if I gave something to my nephew, not to her, she would cry. And I would be very careful to always, give both equal attention to both. And we can see this is in the human mind in the beginnings in our childhood. We are always looking externally saying, oh, they've got that, I want that too. Or they can do that, I can do that too. It's so deep in the human mind. It's showing that our need to recognition, I exist. I am a being that exists in the world. I need attention, I need love. And I'm not denying humans of this, but we're looking to transcend the attachment to karma chanda, this affiliation with a love that belongs to me only, doesn't belong to you. And this is what the Lord Buddha says, we have to begin to mature in qualities of divinity, qualities of truly profound states of mind. And so this quality of covetousness is actually spot on. If we do examine it carefully, it is so deep in our subconscious. And it doesn't leave us from childhood. As we say, such as a child is such as the young woman, young man. You give me a child of 7, you give me a man. And so they say usually your character, your personality is established by the age of 7 and 8. And they've done science and tests with that. They've done research where they've actually studied children over a period of 50 years from the age of 5, 7, 20 and so forth, and seen that age actually their personality is fixed. A lot of their views and ideas. But the Lord Buddha says, yes, things are strong. There are defilements and kilesas, but doesn't mean we accept that. That's on a level of a normal mind, that is true. But that is not on the level of the mind someone seeking spiritual growth. If someone's seeking true spiritual growth, such as Angulimala, he would always remain a serial killer. He would never be able to transcend his evil deeds or his shortcomings and realize that he was only doing it because he had lacked any true wisdom or understanding or any guidance. He was just following someone to tell him to do something. And that time in India, they were killing animals, seeing it that as a way of making merit. It's just how absurd it was. And also in that time in India, they would bathe in the water if they did some evil deed, thinking, okay, that evil deed is washed away. And the Lord Buddha, with his great Maha Karunika for the world, great compassion, and Maha Visuddhi, great purity, and Maha Panya, great wisdom, could transcend and see that the human mind has all this potential to awakening. And this is what we're looking at. And so when we go back to this second one, which I'm going quite strongly on, because we tend to neglect it and think, oh, it's not important. But actually, this is what disturbs us the most when we're doing mindfulness practice and developing sati. We're always thinking about our home, we're thinking about other things, our cars and possessions. And then just how powerful it is, we just get so obsessed with everything, all our attachments. And so we should try to see that what is this entailing? This is also entailing the other aspect, the stain of stinginess. They go hand in hand. Covetousness and the stinginess goes hand in hand. To the point is, some people, when they think they want to offer things, and they decide, no, I'll keep it. This is expensive. This is too good to give. I'll keep it. I need it myself. Or if I give this, I won't have any money left. Or if I sacrifice my time, I won't have a free Sunday. And this is what the Lord Buddha wanted to challenge us with our own kilesas, and allow them to be. And this is why monks cannot say anything, because we have to allow people to grow in Dhamma. And this is what the short cartoon commentary will be at the end of this talk, to show that. The Lord Buddha never intervened with this prince who did all these evil deeds, because he knew the mind would not accept, and he would still probably do even worse deeds. By the non-doing, that he could come to the state of this back to normality. So if someone's doing something incredibly evil, we have to be careful. We can't just stop them as much as we'd like to. Sometimes it's beyond us. Maybe we'll get killed in the process or so forth. Or if we fight back, we'll get them even more angry. And for another example, when someone was very angry to me just one occasion, thought I was a terrorist, which is now there's so much terrorism in the world that they see any strange religious person, they call you a Hare Krishna or this or that. They still don't know that I'm a Buddhist monk. When I go Bindabat here, they say to me, are you a Hare Krishna? Can you hand me out smiley stickers? And I say, sorry, I don't have anyone, but I can give you a genuine smile, which I didn't say, I was thinking. And this is how it is. This is how there's very little monks and Buddhism in the world, and Theravada monks in Australia are very small amount, very much in a minority. So this quality, coming back to non-doing, this application of non-doing is all what it's all about. And this seems seems like it's not good enough. We're taught in modern society we have to be proactive in doing things and always doing things, and the act of being passive, it seems to be like a cowardly way out of the situation. But actually, this is where we can see the quality. If people have hatred, the Lord Buddha said in his statement, also in this documentary film we're showing, the Lord Buddha says it's a timely, it's the internal law of Dhamma that hatred is never appeased by hatred, but it's appeased by non-hatred alone. And so, and this quality of non-hatred is that we don't receive that gift. But what gifts we give is our sila, such as the sila you've been taking here, the 5 precepts. That is a gift to give to others, a gift of security, safety and stability. And also it's a gift to yourself to start to be more aware and be more restrained in your manners and your etiquette. And this will lead you to more happiness. Of course, when we're used to following our greed, hatred and delusion, like I said before, of Lumpur Cha, since our young age, and normally when we're not interested in Dharma and we're competing for our life in the world, and that's what the world is all about, compete and get ahead, or else if we don't go first, someone will take our spot and so forth. And I'm not denying that these are very difficult, troublesome things of the world, but if we can put it in the right perspective, maybe we can experience something more deep and profound, which will allow us to consider it more and more and give it more importance in our life. And this could be a great benefit to us than normally just going to worldly satisfactions. So this quality of non-application, of non-hatred, and non-ill will, or if you want to say abhayapada, anabija, and abhayapada, is a negation of these two, and these two is taking away of, the Lord Buddha says, is to the non-doing of it. So, and the great Kuba Ajahns would say, just don't go chasing after these things that you'll keep on thinking about when you're meditating. Just let them aside, put them aside. It doesn't help you to think about them. And maybe you need to do what's a sign. If there's a lot of that in mind, it just shows you're not doing much acts of generosity. You're not doing much acts of sacrifice, and this is a very important aspect, because Lord Buddha said dana goes hand in hand with sila. And so this is how we uphold our sila, by showing it through acts of generosity, because it's something that opens the mind up, because the mind is naturally, the hands are naturally closed-fisted, and this is what we call stinginess. And we all have this stain now, because the world is making it very hard to make a living and to survive. So, it's so many bills to pay and this and that. It's so many expenses. I don't have anything I can give. And this is, no one's asked you to give a lot, but there's always something. If we are generous, we can always share. There's that quality we can share. And this is a powerful quality in the mind. And it's up to us what we want to share. And this is, we can be very creative in doing that, if we really are seeking to understand this quality. And so, when we get to this point of neutrality, of the non-doing of these things, then we can quite see that we're sobering up from these two powerful signs that are pulling us into these evil, unwholesome states of mind. And that is the sign of beauty and the sign of the loathsomeness, or the sign of disgust. These two are very powerful signs that preoccupy the mind. And the Lord Buddha says, yes, there is subha and there is asubha, and that there is the attractive and what is appealing and beautiful. But of course, you must not forget, what there is attractive, there's also the unattractive quality state of it. And the mind that is deluded, it totally locks up the unattractive side of it, puts it in a suitcase and locks it up and says it doesn't exist, and sits on top of it. But actually it starts rattling around, and we try to keep it quiet as much as possible, because we don't want to look in there. Because what are we afraid of? We are afraid of losing our worldly happiness that we're so used to and so strongly attached. If we weren't so strongly attached to this worldly happiness, such as if we had very good meditation, we were very peaceful, and we could easily get to a state of deep peace and calm, you would probably notice that you wouldn't be so interested in seeking worldly happiness. Why do I need it? I'm so content and so happy myself, I'm so peaceful. But because there is no peace and no happiness and no content in oneself, is the real reason why we're seeking happiness outside. And I'm not saying, I'm denying that worldly happiness is wrong, but it has to be done in the right perspective. And that's why the Lord Buddha laid down Majjhima Patipata. He never said to go to either extreme, the extreme of sensual indulgence or the extreme sense of denial. He wanted us to go to the neutral state of the non-doing, the non-application. He didn't say, okay, there's hatred, now I want you to have total loving kindness. He never said such a thing. If he said that, he would have said, is appeased by metta alone. But this is how the Dhamma is. It's cause and effect. If we do non-hatred, what is the effect on that? It generates goodwill. And generate goodwill generates loving kindness. So we can see Dhamma is all paccaya, conditioned realities that are interlocked, mutual conditionality. And when we see this pattern more and more in our own mind, we start to unfold in our discernment and wisdom and see how we can help ourselves and gain more states of peace. And so we will look into these states of peace and see quite clearly that we need to have peace and we yearn for peace. If we did not, we would not come here and we would not be interested in Dharma. And as Lumpo Liam Mayabujaya said, he said, Santi Sawang Buddho. And he said the states of peace, of brightness, and knowing. And these qualities he would use as reflections of mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. So he wouldn't just say those things; he would describe them in these qualities. Sati, Santi, Buddho. So Santi is a state of Sati is a state of mindfulness, and Samadhi actually, he would say from his deep, great level of practice, is all about peace. So we're all obsessed about attaining peace and going into states of deep concentration, and we're always trying to improve our meditation. But actually, there's no need. There's no need, because peace keeps on getting more and more profound as we allow it to unfold. It's just peace. There's no need to add any more things to it or any more labels, to keep it very simple. And so when we do these aspects of refraining from things, and we are aware when someone is angry, and we can see that we don't want that gift. And this is what the maturity is all about in the mind. So if someone even is going to harm us, we're not afraid. We won't run away. We'll stand our ground and say, I've done nothing. How dare you think of harming me? I will call the police. And they will straight away calm down. And this is what the Lord Buddha did with Angulimala. He said, stop, Sanama. And he turned around, I have stopped. And it was a profound statement which he explained, and he totally dropped his sword. Because there's that power within us. If the more we build up in this application of the non-doing of these unwholesome states, just doing that much, just saying no to them more and more when they arise, when we are getting more and more awareness when they arise in all kinds of situations, then we are experiencing a sense of lightness, because these things are heavy. They make us feel heavy. So if someone's angry, it's naturally we'll feel angry back. But that's not right, because then what arises in the mind is the sign of patigun, the sign of the disgust and loathsome towards that person. Oh, this person's awful. They are angry and bad. I'm going to be angry and bad back to them. And we're no better than the animals, fighting for killing each other and whatnot. But we don't have to do that. We're humankind, and if we can live peacefully, and we have great knowledges and skills, so we can even produce our own food and so forth, And this is how society has grown and grown from the Dark Ages to the present, to beautifully well-structured societies organised with aspects of sila and morality infused in them. So these 5 precepts, you can see they're actually basis in moral code of law. Like if you say something wrong, it'll be you could be criminalised for it, because you have to sign documents. You have to be truthful. If you found out that you were not telling the truth, you could be incriminated for that. So that's just one example. Or if you drink alcohol, also you can incriminate yourself if you do it in a public place and you drink too much. Or you can even harm someone or kill someone, and you end up in prison with manslaughter. And so you can see just these 2 aspects of the things. And also kamesu machachara, which is adultery. And there's how many court cases over adultery when people are having affairs and families are broken up, and there's court cases. Again, it's a legal binding code there as well. And so we can see, and also killing. Okay, maybe we can kill an insect and nobody would care. But later on, when we have states of peace, we'll probably have tears and great regret of harming such a being intentionally, and with aspect of cruelty of the mind. And this is what's taking away our peace. And so people who are in the world are not ready for Dhamma, we don't interfere. We allow them to be. If we are a good example on ourselves, this gives the other people the opportunity to grow at their own time and their own pace. We can't control others, the Lord Buddha says. We can't control the world or tell people what to do. And Lord Buddha was a beautiful example of that. He would never do anything to this prince, who I showed this short documentary, to wake him up, or the evil deeds. The very fact he killed his own father, being tricked by Devadatta, and being a young man still doesn't understand. In that time, it was not much Dhamma being taught in the world. Even religious, even royal people didn't understand. But his father was a devotee of the Lord Buddha, and he acted by body and speech and mind towards the Lord Buddha. But he didn't have the education or the skills to maybe teach his son, but only by example. But his son had strong, heavy karma, and which sometimes we notice. Some people we meet, they are so angry. They get angry very easily. And we say, why are they always angry? Or some people very kind and very nice and lovely. Why are they like that? It's very strange, we consider. But this is from fruits of previous karma. You know, if we are born with, we know ourselves, we live with ourselves all our life. We see that, oh yeah, I do have a lot of these negativities. We could maybe consider that this is something I've been doing for a long time, and now I have to just stop. I have to change. I have to truly develop kusala chanda, wholesome aspirations of mind. I truly have to make a transformation. I truly have to make strong determination, like a strong promise to ourselves. We don't need to tell anyone else, and that's the beauty. You're the owner of your karma, guided and supported by your karma. For whatever karma you will do, for that good or for ill, that you shall be the owner of, the heir to. So when we understand like that, and we consider like that, then we start to change slowly to improve ourselves in all levels. And why do we do this? Because our deep yearning for peace in our life. We said, it's enough. Now it's time to develop peace in my life and understand peace. And if it isn't time yet, so be it. It's not time yet. But there are a lot of people out in the world that's really feeling it's right time to start to develop peace. And so when we see someone who's angry at us, we look at it with our peaceful mind and say, we're not going to look at them with the sight of loathsomeness and ugliness. We will look with them kind eyes and say, they will have to suffer greatly for that. Why should I have to add to that suffering? Because one day when they're old, they're going to experience a lot of unhappiness. Because it's a natural cycle of anger to lead to domanassa. It's a natural cause and effect. It's inevitable. And you can see this with criminals. If you go knocking on a criminal door, will he open the door and say, hi, how are you? If he's an armed robber, he'll greet you with a gun at his side, thinking you've come to steal his wealth and property. And so what is pondering in his mind when he hears that door knock? It's domanassa, grief. Oh my gosh, they're coming to kill me. Sadness. Or what have I done? But it's too late. He's so full of all this evilness that he has no goodness at all. And with someone who's purely good, has a good heart and good mind, the door knocks again, he opens the door. He's not afraid. Even if someone is being mean on the door, he can quickly resolve and say, sorry, I'm not interested, just close the door. Because if we truly trust the Dhamma, we should not be afraid of the world around us. We should be confident. Lord Buddha said that if you were to ask to stand in front of the crowd and ask to say your name and who you are and that, you would not be afraid. The Lord Buddha said, he guaranteed, if you truly had good sila, truly had integrity, you could stand in front of the crowd and say, hello, how are you? Pleased to meet you all. I'm also a part of humankind. And why is it we can't do that? Why is it we can't stand in front of an audience and say, hi, how are you? It's because we still have too much unwholesome qualities in the mind. And thus we have no confidence. And thus we are all like little children gaining confidence in the Dhamma, growing in the Dhamma, until one day we're strong enough, we can be a support for others. So we have to keep on with this quality of understanding Dhamma and these two extremes of craving and aversion. So when someone angry coming up to us, again, if we go to the sign of loathsomeness, what do we generate? We're just as bad as them. And then this is normal. And then later we go back home and we're crying and we're thinking, damn it, or whatever, we say strong words and say, I gave in to my kilesa. I gave into my defilement, I didn't have enough mindfulness to catch my mind and restrain myself in time. And who do we ask for forgiveness from? You can't ask forgiveness from me. Can you ask forgiveness from yourself? That's very difficult as well. But we have a thing in the forest tradition, we have morning and evening chanting. And evening chanting at the end of when we do the Buddha Nusati, Dhamma Nusati, Sangha Nusati, reflection of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, the three refuges, which is quite interesting because it's these three refuges that why we can have Panchasila. If we didn't have these three refuges, we couldn't do Panchasila. You can't just say, take the precepts without the Panchasila. What is your refuge? You don't have a refuge. It's a waste of time. You can't keep Sila. And the reason why you can't keep Sila is because you have no confidence. So how can you take the refuges if you don't have any confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha? If it's just purely a philosophical thing. It's just purely just something in a book that you read when you feel like. Is that how level it is in your mind and heart? You have to ask yourself. Is that all it means to you? It's just a book in the shelf and when you no longer need it, you put it away or give it to someone else, which is very good? Or is it somewhere where you put and you honour it, you put it in a high place and you keep it clean and regard it as an area? Or do you put your Dhamma books with sports magazines? Or even put a dirty old coffee and pot of it? We have to think like this. We have to think to remind ourselves that these how important they are. And this is one of the qualities we'll see in the modern world. And there's Dhamma degenerates, is this quality of respect. And so too, when these great Kuba Ajahns die, which of course is very difficult for you because they speak different languages and they rarely visit here, and if they do, they visit only a few certain places because certain monks invite them and it's difficult for them to travel around and so forth. And but with Sangha spreading now, being in different parts of the world, and if they're good monks, they will help to promote that quality. And so like I too, because I knew such a great master and spent time with him before his passing away, I felt the need to put up his picture, where I normally put up the Lumpur Cha, which is, because that's the Sangha I belong to. And I just wanted to show my sense of gratitude, and some lay people supported that, and I'm ordinary to them. They wanted to support that, and they could see that's a powerful thing to show respect, karava. So when we're showing this pure respect for the three refuges, then it really makes sense. Sila makes sense. And when we're still new to it and we're still struggling in it, doesn't mean we're a bad person. It means we are learning. And we're all learning. So be kind to yourselves. If you still get angry or you still feel jealousy or this and that, be kind to yourself. It's normal. No one's perfect. But the very fact is that you have an open mind, willing interest to learn of these states and recognize them and do the non-application of them. Just allow them to be without acting upon them by body, speech. And these are our thoughts. Stop thinking about them. Change your thoughts. Don't entertain such thoughts. And of course it's painful when we first experience it because we're feeling the pain of other people dumping their gift that we don't want. Because nobody wants these kinds of things of people's ill will or negativity dumping on us. Nobody likes that. But we have to say, when we don't have any strength in our own practice, that's how it is. It's dumped on us because we're just as dirty as them. But when we have qualities of cleanliness in our mind, it doesn't easily dump onto us. And like too, with the previous video I showed of Sirimana and Uttara, and Sirimana being the courtesan, wanting to burn with boiling hot water Uttara, she couldn't burn her because she had not one sense of animosity or anger towards her. She had a pure mind of metta, and this is described in the scriptures that if the mind is completely in a deep state of peace, with deep profound of peacefulness, one cannot be harmed by arrows or boiling water or anything. But this is not something to talk about lightly, you know. This is very, very, very deep, profound state of that peace, where the mind is expressing that state of this unconditional love kindness for all beings, regardless, even if they will be at harm. So these beautiful qualities that we study and we learn about the Lord Buddha and we feel that are impossible, we just keep them aside and we just leave it till our wisdom increases and our knowledge increases so we can consider them later. Because a lot of the actual Dharma teachings are probably not ready, suitable for us. So we just leave it aside and see what is applicable to us now. And the Lord Buddha said these qualities of the non-application of things is very applicable to all those who have interest and inclination to start to train themselves in their mind, to develop qualities of more wholesome states and see the benefits of that. And so thirdly, the third quality of the mind level, of the kusala karma of the mind, and that is of wrong views. And this one is what prevents us from doing the refined work of the Eightfold Noble Path. So this is why these three doors of the strong areas do overlap with the Eightfold Path, but they are utterly important. The standpoint of almost you could say the flag, the banner of Kusala Chanda, waving the wholesome flag. And these are 10 points. So I've gone over 2 points there. And these are deep in the mind that is trying to establish peace. And these two things are preventing us from establishing peace. And the third one as well will prevent us even more because the third one does encourage the other two because it has wrong view. It doesn't have a basis. Such as wrong view goes through the states of there is what is given, there is what is sacrificed, and there is what is offered. And when I came across this long list, I didn't really understand what it meant. What do you mean, what is there given? But then when I considered over time and time again, reflecting over and over again, and this quality of scrutinizing, analyzing Dhamma, keep on going over and over again, thinking, experiencing, until we get an answer, till we actually are quite happy we're getting a proper answer for ourselves. And so we can see that if there was no one giving anything, what kind of world would it be? And I think that's what the Lord Buddha was saying. And this is the quality of humans. Animals, do animals give each other food? No. When there's food there, they're fighting for it. They share. They can, but to a lesser extent. They can to a lesser extent. So, but majority in the animal world, they will share with the youngs. For example, with their youngs. But when they're in a group, in a pack, and they fight, and that's the nature of animals and so forth. And that's what I was pointing at. So I apologise if it was misunderstood there, but that was pointing at. And so too, humans, when we don't know each other, and we put something like if someone was to put a suitcase of $1 million just there and just walked out and says, please help yourself. Of course, everyone needs money, so I'm just using it as an analogy to show what will happen. But I remember a famous story of a relative long ago, about 200 years ago, who migrated to another country, and he was working in America, and he came across a large suitcase full of money, just left, and he took it, and he went and said, whose is it? No one's, and he took it back, and he looked at it, and he went and gave it to the police station. And they said, I can't believe it. Why don't you keep it? You know, he says, it's not mine. It's not mine. It's not mine. And then I asked him, what would you want? Well, I'm not having much luck in the new land, and I miss family at home. I think I'll migrate. I won't migrate to this country. I'll go back home. I just want a ticket to go back. So they organised a ticket like that, and he married my grandmother and so forth. So I was quite impressed by that story, that, you know, that kind of integrity of the mind. And he was very poor, didn't have any money at all. And that's what we call that integrity, when we know it's a stain of stinginess, when it doesn't belong to us, and we take it, we just try our luck, and that quality. And it's testing us. Sometimes we do things happen. Sometimes something happens, say, oh, this is not right. Because when we do act upon those things, there is a thing called karma. We're creating, generating karma, like an energy field, that in the future, so too, someone will take, maybe we left property around, someone too will take that property of ours. So then this quality of understanding, this quality of giving, and this quality of what is sacrificed, and this quality of what is offered, and so forth. And these are all aspects of giving, we can say, and we could go into detail with them, but I won't at this occasion. And then when we move on, we can see other qualities of there is fruits of good deeds and bad deeds. They bring results. There's these deeds, what we do, good and bad, they bring results. And he just makes that statement, doesn't say that the results are good and bad. If you do good, results are good. He just left it as an open statement for us to consider. And that there is this world and another world, which is hard for us to believe. But all religions do say there is heaven and hell. So, and I remember another famous monk from Malaysia would make this discussion, says, because it's, and he said it in a very beautiful way, because all religions consider it so, these principles of heaven and hell and so forth, and even Buddhism, they have an understanding of it as well, then it's quite broadly agreed upon. And though that we cannot approve or disapprove of it, but we take heed of it, we're aware of it, we take heed of it, something we cannot know for sure. And so this is opens up a very interesting Dhamma talk within itself, and it could be done on another time. So we just leave it like that. We don't need to, if we're not doubtful on it, and we can just go on with investigating other aspects of it. And he says there is mother and father. And also in this short documentary show that this prince killed his father, and because of that, the Lord Buddha said that the eye of Dhamma does not arise in him. Because the heavy karma of killing one's parents is one of the what we call antariya karma, one of the 5 heavy karmas that one can do, and of course maybe he didn't understand why he was doing. He was motivated. He thought because the father was going to kill him, regardless of his intentions, he still did that act, and that cannot be taken away. And that's one thing with killing. With intentionally knowing this, what I do shall take away the life of another human being. Of course, in court, it can be talked about as manslaughter or murder because of the conditions, maybe defending yourself, so forth, or whatever. And so with that, we look at that aspect and see, okay, some of us really feel very close to our mother and father, and some of us don't. Some of us, or maybe didn't know our mother and father, maybe they died at a young age or whatnot. But we can see that they are quite credible people for what they did for us. If we all reflect that all the service and kindness they did for us and support, and they were our first teachers of the world, introduced us to the world. So we wouldn't be here for them if they weren't here. So we can consider like that, yes, there is such a thing. There is such an importance to that. We can recognise that definitely for sure. And so when we consider these aspects of wrong view, we can consider other things like lofty statements such as there are beings that are spontaneously born. And what does this mean? And this is also something that's quite refined, such as there is this world and another world. But as we mature in our Dharma practice and we study the Dharma, we start to see, oh yes, I understand how it can be possible, and so forth. And then finally there are these great ascetics or sages or great monks who have seen the Dharma for themselves, as the statement says, and have seen it with as the Lord Buddha's statement is that he would claim that if I had not seen, not known and directly realised and well penetrated to the understanding of the suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, the path leading to cessation of suffering, then I would not state that. And why would I state such a things? And because of that powerful statement that the Lord Buddha said, he made us remind him how to remind him and reflect upon him. But because I say such things, That's why you should have confidence. And he's pointing at those who are inclined to investigate such qualities. Yes, there is suffering, these Four Noble Truths and so on. But for some of us who are still new to Dhamma, this might be quite advanced, and it is an advanced step. The Four Noble Truths is not something that the Lord Buddha would teach straight away. But we should know that's what it's leading to. You know, a lot of people do teach the four right view is these Four Noble Truths. Yes, but that's on an advanced level of right truth. But on a fundamental level, we're still trying to get a basis of understanding there is this paccaya, this conditionality, this mutual relationship of things. And the first one is a very beautiful one, because there's giving, there's what is given, there's what is sacrificed, and there's what is offered. These have meanings. So it's up to us to consider these things over and over again in our minds and think about them over and go over again when we do have time. And this is for someone who's truly interested in Dhamma, will spend time, will find time to go over these things and read Dhamma books and consider things. And this will help develop the quality and support those peaceful states and learn to experience this aspect of this refraining from. And the Lord Buddha said it is the quality of nekama, or the quality of renunciation, the cleansing quality of renunciation, which has a cleansing quality on the mind. And so the application I'm doing has a cleansing effect where we feel, after a period of time we feel more lighter and at ease. And maybe initially we'll go for a period where we will be attracted to those things that we've let go of. And that's normal. But then if we do engage them again, if we've gone for a period where we're not doing such unwholesome actions anymore, or getting angry, or fighting, or doing things that are inappropriate and causing us great anxiety and sadness, then we realise, oh, I stopped for so long and then I started to do the old things again. Oh, I feel miserable. It's because the mind is refined, it's purified itself to a level and it's feeling a greater sense of ease and happiness. And now it goes back. It's like you've cleaned the cloth and now you just get it all dirty. You just dump it in the mud and roll it in the mud and say, well, what have I done? It's going to take a lot of work to get that clean again. And that's because we decided to get angry. They made me angry. We decided to get angry. Usually we say, they made me angry. You know, this is what children do. He did that, I'm going to get him back, da-da-da. This is natural. Dek mai khao chai bun bad. Ben tamada. This is when I got from a study, they say children, they don't understand what is meritorious and what demeritorious. Young children who are still learning and easily fall to behaviour of all sorts of motor behaviours, and they copy and they go by examples that are around them. But potentially they have the luminous mind, the bright mind, because when they are not involved in anything, they're in a very nice, wholesome environment, they too can get deep into deep states of peace. I'm not saying that children are inherently bad. They are not. It's just the environment that around them that they have no ability to actually have that factor, that maturity to make a decision to say no to certain things. And that takes great maturity, integrity to say, no, I won't do that. And this is the power of desire, power of craving and aversion that's pulling us all the time to two directions. And these powers rely on their signs. So we have to look carefully. When someone's angry, you have to look carefully at that sign of loathsomeness. When we are feeling this loathsomeness and see, and we look at them in a different light, we can have the perspective, oh, they are harming themselves so much. Oh, I would never want to behave like that. Oh, we feel sad. We feel sad for them. We have dominance, and not for ourselves, but for them. And this is the quality, what the Lord Buddha said is maha karuniko. When we can see other beings are suffering, and we see because we've suffered, we don't want them to suffer anymore. So we don't act upon it. And we walk away. It makes us too sad for us to be in that environment because we can't do anything. That's what the Lord Buddha did with in this evilness of this prince. He didn't act anything. He didn't do anything. He didn't say anything to him. He just walked away. He said, well, it's his karma and you have to learn. Because this is what Dhamma is about. Dhamma is not about going out there with an army and changing people, reforming people, fighting in the name of such and such a religion. Dhamma does not work like that. Dhamma is something that has to be acknowledged by each individual. And that's why it's so hard to prove it or to encourage people to do in the world, because we're used to mass movements, mass control. And this is going the other direction. The true Dhamma is going the other direction. It's going pachatang vedita boy, for those who can individually see it for themselves and discern it for themselves, these beautiful qualities of Dhamma. So I've talked a lot about encouraging this aspect of non-doing, and I'll finally just come to the conclusion with these two first 5 nivaranas, which I talked about last week, which was kama chanda and bhayapada, and that is indulgence in sensuality and the quality of going to extreme of lacking any goodwill at all, being in a realm of ill will. And these we can see as a quality of having the character traits of what the Lord Buddha said to avoid these two extremes of self-mortification, which is the utmost extremity of ill wills, when we even brutally harm ourselves to the point we'll commit suicide or kill ourselves or think ourselves are no good and lowy. This is the highest form of hatred. First we hate others, but the highest one is when we start hating ourselves. And that is really very sad, creating very heavy, sad states on the mind for future births. So we have to access and say, why am I blaming myself? The Lord Buddha never taught like that. He taught me to learn. All right, I've done something wrong, but I can learn. So in the evening we go to the shrine, Kayena vachaya vacheta sava buddhe kukamam pakatang mayayang buddho patikanato ajayantang kalantare sangvaritung va buddhe. Whatever wrong actions I've done, body, speech or mind, towards the Buddha, my first refuge, please forgive me. May my fault be acknowledged, and may there may be restraint. And so in that time we're considering something that we did that we felt that was not right and we want to improve. And it's acknowledging of the things that we've done that are wrong is the growth, the Lord Buddha said, is the growth in the Dhamma. When we can see we've done something wrong and we make amends, we decide ourselves, no one's telling us. There's no one blessing us or no one's telling us. And this is a quality of it being a purifying effect, and no one needs to know, and that's the beauty. So you don't have to feel embarrassed by other people or feel like that. You can keep it quietly with yourself and explore your own mind and see what you're ready to absorb, what elements of Dhamma that you really want to work with. And that's what it is, because we're all individuals, we all have unique karmas, and we have to work with that. And it's no one else's business, only ours. And so forth with the Dhamma and the Sangha. I won't recite that again. And having these 3 refuges, we see that's what is upholding our sila, and also qualities of studying the Dhamma and sincerity, wanting to learn on the Dhamma. But we might be that level we don't want to take the refuges, and we just want to listen to Dhamma talk. And that is excellent as well, because you're lending an ear. You're seeing that this is useful, this is supportive, I want to listen to this. And thus one gains confidence. And thus one's walking on the path of Dhamma on his own time. So that's the beauty of Dhamma practitioners, and that's why it's now so much interest in the world for it, because it's allowing people in their own time, at their own recreation, to and their own inclinations to develop it in their own way. And the more we can see like that, and the more we sense we have this great unity. Because if we're all doing aspects of Dhamma, then this creates a great generating of harmony. How can it not? Because we're not looking to bother others and things like that. We're trying and generating this harmony. And this is what we're looking for, these qualities. So this Lumpo Blem talked about these qualities, that we should definitely look at the quality of the non-beauty in the beauty, such as I'll give you one simple simile, and that is of a beautiful summer leaf now is all withered. Nobody wants to look at it. It's all on the ground and ugly. But aren't we all like that? Aren't our mind states, moods and things like that? Some things we like, some things we don't like. or we like this, and we look at that leaf, and we too one day will go for a cycle and it'll end up like that, just a withered leaf. So we can always reflect even our beautiful car and our beautiful possessions of the world will one day be an old leaf, a pile, a heap. It doesn't mean we just ignore it, neglect it. We look after it, but we don't see it as an everlasting thing. Same as ourselves. We don't see ourselves everlasting. We're a conditioned phenomenon that's going through changes. We do our best to look after our properties in ourselves. But the theme, the idea is to remind ourselves there is this quality of impermanence. And that impermanence shows us the quality of the non-beauty that we're not looking at. And thus, with the sign of loathsomeness, we look at the sign of going to the state of neutrality, not creating that. We're creating states of goodwill, with states of non-hatred. What will that generate? The states of sense of stability, where we can see that what is experienced by other peoples, we too experience it. And then if we refrain from that, we step back, we can see the benefits by slowly not engaging in such behaviour and allowing more states of peace to happen in our mind. So may you all have a lovely day, and it's getting late, so anumodana for all you coming to listen to this Dhamma talk. May you reach the benefits in your practice, and we will now show a short footage of a film.
Venerable Devadatta has performed gravely serious evil karma. Even coming so close to Jetavana Monastery, he still was unable to catch a glimpse of the Lord Buddha. Rather, he was swallowed up by the earth and sank down into hell. And I myself cooperated with him in committing a tremendous many evil deeds. I can't sleep at night. Dr. Shivaka, what should I do?
Your humble servant thinks that your highness should go and approach the Lord Buddha in order to pay your respects and to ask for his forgiveness.
You are right. Let us go together to pay our respects to the Buddha. O Lord, I was duped into believing what Venerable Devadatta said. I thereby committed gravely serious wrong actions which affected the Buddha. I now realise my mistake. Please, may I beg your pardon? Please forgive me. I promise I will never do unwholesome deeds like that again.
Your Majesty, it is a timeless law that in this world, hatred can only ever be appeased by non-hatred. One who associates with fools is doomed to sorrow for a long time. One who is perfect in morality shines like a bright flame. One with mindfulness is happy and grows in the Dhamma at every moment. If a king rules with Dhamma, all his citizens will be happy. Bhikkhus, all conditioned things are of the nature to arise, persist for a while, and then pass away. Therefore, we should consider such things as impermanent, uncertain, unreliable. The tears of beings who wander from birth to death on the wheel of samsara are countless. Their corpses pile up to cover every inch of the earth. It's such an enormous pity, and worthy of sadness. Those who cling to attachment to the forms, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches of this world have not the slightest chance of ever going beyond it.
I declare myself as a Buddhist lay practitioner and take the Triple Gem as my refuge for the rest of my life.
the king has no alternative but to receive the heavy results of his terrible deed, murdering his own father. The perfect vision of the Dhamma, therefore, does not arise in him here.